What's up, guys? Benny. Pollsters are saying that there is a massive spike in enthusiasm for Republicans may have saved a congressional seat yesterday in Tennessee. And that's because Republicans, based on literally the killing of American military members on our own street by foreign nationals who don't belong here because they're terrorists from Afghanistan that were stupidly brought here with zero vetting. Ladies and gentlemen, those terrorists, well, they have finally spurred true action. I guess we'll see. They've at least spurred a lot of words from the administration that have been followed by some good actions, and we look forward to the mass deportations, hopefully very soon. Nonetheless, I met with President Trump, says Kristi Noem. I'm recommending a full travel ban on every damn country that's been flooding our nation with killers, leeches, and entitlement junkies. Love the language here. Our forefathers built this nation on blood, sweat, and the unyielding love of freedom, not foreign invaders to slaughter our heroes, suck dry our hard-earned tax dollars, and to snatch benefits owed to America. We don't want them, not one. Great post. Seriously, well done. President Trump has responded by freezing all immigration from 19 countries. White House prepared to expand to 30 nations. Good. Then go to the rest of the nations on Earth. Caroline Leavitt saying, you don't have a right to be an American. Nobody has a right to a green card. It's a privilege. And this ain't a privilege right here. This is suicidal, frankly, what they did in bringing over literally cartonfuls of Afghanis in C-17s. It's suicidal, and it's led to the death of our military members. It's insane and needs to stop. And so this is a good start. I would argue that you should ban all migration, period. That's my argument. President Trump's clearly had enough, obviously. And my argument makes a ton of sense. We've had way too much unmitigated criminal and legal immigration into this country. We need a cooling off period. The number of immigrants allowed into this country, migrants allowed into this country. I would argue an immigrant is somebody who goes somewhere to build something. A migrant goes somewhere in order to get welfare benefits. The vast majority of people that come into this country are migrants, no longer immigrants, because America's built, right? We are now a modern liberal welfare state. Shouldn't be that way. That also needs to go away. But nonetheless, this is what we are now. And so Trump's had enough. Kristi Noem's having enough of the leashes, and President Trump just delivered the single greatest scorched earth monologue against the Somali population in America, which is a population that, I mean, again, as we've covered many times on the show, and I'm sorry that this data, if this data offends you, scientific data shows that it's up to 50% coefficient inbreeding, 60% illiteracy rate, can't read, incredible incidents. I mean, an entire country built on fraud and piracy, which is Somalia, clan and tribal warfare that's been going on for generations. Why would you bring that into the country? Why would you bring that here? Ask yourself that question. It's also a country run by Sharia law, incompatible completely with the West. And so President Trump has finally just said, gloves off. We're done. And he said, I'm sick of these people coming here and then bitching about America when their entire country is a absolute failed and collapsed state. Beautiful, beautiful monologue here by Trump. Never seen him do it better. Greatest Trump monologue of all time is being called. Here we go.
And they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you, okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries, too. I can say it about other countries, too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. You know, they came from paradise, and they said, this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell, and they complain and do nothing but bitch, we don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it.
This monologue was followed up by a number of big things during this cabinet meeting, including the cutting off of SNAP benefits for Democrat states, removing millions from food stamps who are here fraudulently. Kristi Noem saying that she and DHS have been looking in at the Somali fraud in Minneapolis and that they have deployed ICE agent teams to Minneapolis in order to snatch up criminal aliens. That's been happening right now. Here's Kristi Noem.
You told me to look into Minnesota and their fraud on visas and their programs. 50% of them are fraudulent, which means that wacko Governor Walz either is an idiot or he did it on purpose. And I think he's bold, sir. He brought people in there illegally that never should have been in this country, said they were somebody that they're not. They said they were married to somebody who was their brother or somebody else. Fraudulent visa applications, signed up for government programs, took hundreds of billions of dollars from the taxpayers, and we're going to remove them and we're going to get our money back.
Ilhan Omar didn't like what happened at the cabinet meeting. Not one little bit. Ilhan Omar says, we are going to be here regardless of what the president says. See, the crazy part about that is that this is a population that is constantly obsessing over how wonderful Somalia is. And that is the thing I can't square. If you love Somalia so much, why are you so enraged when somebody says, well, that's where you should live then? Don't make no sense to me. Ilhan Omar clearly losing it in this clip on President Trump saying that Somalians should go back to Somalia. Well, why are you offended by that? You're constantly changing the state's flag, sending bags of cash back to fund Muslim terrorism. You're constantly declaring that your true and only love is Somalia and maybe your brother. So why not just go back there? Oh, yes. Oh, got it. Okay. You need a foothold here in the first world in order to funnel all of the fraud money back to your nation so you can engage in further tribal warfare and slaughter. Got it. Here's Ilhan Omar.
He's always been a racist, a bigot, a xenophobic, and Islamophobic. We know that he called African nations a shithole in his first administration. We know that when he came down that escalator, he said he was going to stop Muslim immigration into this country. And so it is not surprising that he is going after black immigrants in this country. And it's certainly not surprising that he's choosing a black immigrant community that is also Muslim. But what I would like to say is that most of us are citizens. On our passport, it says we are nationals of this country. We love that Minnesota has welcomed us. Many of us have not been settled in Minnesota. We chose it as a home because the Minnesota people and the state is beautiful and very welcoming. And we are going to be here regardless of what the president has to say.
Yeah. Seriously. IQ metrics, literacy rate, infrastructure hasn't been maintained since decolonization, rampant corruption on every level of government, constant coups and civil wars, failing utilities, public services, and disintegrating markets. It's all, like, frankly, regressing back to hunter-gatherers, pre-industrial era. Not sure why admitting that stuff is offensive. Somalia is clearly the single worst failed state in all of Africa, inarguably. Them and Sudan. So why would Why accept immigrants from there at all? They're, again, incompatible with Western culture. That's what all the data shows. They come here and then they get on welfare. That's what the data shows. The numbers don't lie. J.D. Vance saying, if you want a cheaper home, what we need is mass deportations. I love this message. I'll end with this one.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's an honor to serve with this great team that you've assembled. And I just want to pick up on something you said, Mr. President, because you hit the nail on the head. That it is absurd that Democrats talk about an affordability crisis that they created and the people around this table work every single day to address. You'll hear a lot of statistics today. You hear a lot of statistics in our political conversation. I think the most important statistic for the American people is that under the Biden administration, the average American family lost over $3,000 of household income. And under the first 10 months of this Trump administration, they have gained over $1,000 of household income. What that says very clearly is that we are fixing the problem that Joe Biden and the Democrats created in the last administration. If you look at every affordability crisis that's confronting the American people today, it is traceable directly to a problem caused by Joe Biden and congressional Democrats. Why did homes get so unaffordable? Because we had 20 million illegal aliens in this country taking homes that ought by right to go to American citizens. Why did tax bills get so unaffordable? Because Democrats were raising taxes while congressional Republicans under the president's leadership, we're now cutting taxes. Why did food get so expensive? Because we printed trillions of dollars and threw it into green scams that made our agricultural economy suffer while Americans were paying higher prices for food. On every single one of those issues, Mr. President, I think we've made incredible progress. But it would be preposterous to fix every problem caused over the last 4 years in just 10 months. I think that we've done incredibly good. But what I see over the next year, and you heard Brooke talk about joy and gratitude, what I really think this season represents for me, and I think for the entire administration, is that we have now done incredible work to fix what Joe Biden broke. And I think that next year in American growth and American prosperity could be the best year that we've had in the United States of America. It's going to happen because we're all working hard. It's going to happen because we have the greatest country in the world. But I think for congressional Democrats in particular, if they want to talk about affordability, they ought to look in the mirror. We are fixing what they're broken. We're proud to do it. It's the job that we were elected to do. But I think 2026 is going to be the year where this economy really takes off.